It's week 12, and we have got 10 big games to make picks on. Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. It's a college football podcast. I'm your host, Gary Seegers, at GaryWCE on all the different socials. Most active on X, obviously. And if you're old school, you can reach out to me the old school way through email. Gary@winningcureseverything.com is the email address. So reach out to me if there are games you want me to discuss, etc. Or you can really do yourself a favor. Go over to buymeacoffee.com/winningcures. You can get all these wonderful spreadsheet graphic things, along with the matchup comparison tool, along with my official plays every week, etc. I'm not going to kid you. I have not been great, although I did have a winning week last week, so that certainly helped. October was atrocious for me. I don't know if it was for everybody else, but man, it was bad for me. Other than that, no, it's been a good season thus far. We've had a lot of fun. We are hitting the home stretch as far as the regular season is concerned. As far as the national championship, we're only about halfway. Only about halfway. So, this is a grind, my friends. Got to be mentally ready. All right, let's get to the games. Game number 1, 11 a.m. Central Time, God's time zone on ABC. Notre Dame heads to Pitt, and we got a top 25 matchup here. College game day going to be in town. Good gracious, the freshman quarterback, I'm not even going to try and say his name. I've butchered it so many times. I just said I'm not going to try it, but Mason Heinschel? Yeah. Pitt fans, go ahead. Sacrifice me. I apologize. But the kid's outrageous. He's really good. They're undefeated with him as quarterback. Granted, the competition has not been all that great. As you can see, Pitt number 91 in strength of schedule, Notre Dame number 30. But also, the teams that Notre Dame has played, we sure about that? Navy without Blake Horvath, a reeling Boise State team, Purdue, Arkansas. I mean, what are we talking about? Is what it is. And then, of course, the losses to Miami and Texas A&M, those are impressive, but they are losses nonetheless. Regardless, Notre Dame knows they got to keep their foot on the pedal if they want to make the playoff. Most people would tell you it doesn't matter. A 10-2 Notre Dame is going to get in the playoff. That's not a guarantee. Pitt has a way to earn an automatic berth. Notre Dame does not. And Pat Narduzzi did come out this week. He said, this game doesn't mean anything. At least I believe it was. I hope I didn't get caught by one of those fake Twitter whatever posts. Regardless, I'm curious how seriously Pitt treats this game as opposed to the other games left on the schedule. They've got Miami, they got Georgia Tech left. How much does this game matter when it comes to all of this, right? Pitt, number 28 in PPA margin. Notre Dame, number 9. Notre Dame's defense, number 40. They still have not picked all the way up from where they were after the first 2 games. Granted, they have played a lot better. We'll say that. They have played a whole lot better. Pitt, if you look, number 121 in interceptions thrown per pass. Now, that does include when Eli Holstein was still the starter. But Notre Dame, number 3 in interceptions gained per pass attempt defended. That's pretty big. Pitt doesn't exactly fumble the ball very much, but, I mean, my gosh, they only run it 44% of the time. That's number 112 in rush rate. They throw it number 25 most in the country. Notre Dame's defense is good. They got athletes all over the field. I mean, you look at overall talent rank, Pitt number 52, Notre Dame number 6. If you just look at overall play, Notre Dame number 8 in 5 factors rank, Pitt is number 49. Now, this is raw 5 factors. Strength of schedule is included in this, but it's just it's weighted in a certain way, basically opponent adjustment, right? That's the way it goes. So, penalties per game, Notre Dame is better. Turnover margin, Notre Dame is better. Notre Dame is favored by 10.5 here, total of 57.5. Notre Dame's up to 11 or 11.5 with a total of 55.5. So the total has come down a little bit. My power rating has Notre Dame by 10. My projected stat spread has Notre Dame by 9.2. The last 4 weeks, I would have Notre Dame favored by 18.68. Pitt coming off of a bye. Does that matter here? I think I want Pitt to win the game, right? I want Pitt to keep this close. I don't want another one of these, like Texas Tech BYU was supposed to be a close game. I say that. The spread was 10.5. It was about the same as this. Money has already come in on Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has to have this one more than Pitt. If Pitt doesn't make the ACC championship game, they're not getting in the playoff anyway. So this game doesn't necessarily matter for Pitt as much as it does for Notre Dame. I think I'm going to go with the Irish. I believe that their offense, one, is really, really good. Notre Dame does like to run the football a lot, almost 56% of the time. But they are outstanding throwing the football. Number 9 in PPA per pass, number 2 in yards per pass attempt. Pitt is number 71 and number 60 in those. Passing explosiveness, Notre Dame is number 2. Pitt's defense, number 80. There are significant advantages for Notre Dame in this game. I expect them to show up here big time. This is the only big game that they've got left. And if you want to leave a lasting impression, this is the one. So they are going to be fired up for this one. I expect a big performance from the Irish, minus 10.5. 11 a.m. Central Time on Fox. Michigan goes to Wrigley Field. They're going to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Northwestern right now, 5-4. They need one win. One win to make it to a bowl game. Another one under David Braun. This would be his second in 3 years. And if you look at the on-3 overall talent rank, that's a huge deal. They're number 60. Michigan is number 16. That's a pretty big deal. The spread right now has Michigan minus 11.5 to minus 12.5 with a total of 41.5 on this. I don't think that Michigan is that great of a football team this year. Their defense is surprisingly not great. And that's weird for both of these teams, right? My projected stat spread has Michigan by 9. My power rating has Michigan by 8.3. Now, my last 4 weeks, Michigan is playing better. Michigan minus 16.6. I don't know how much I'm going to hold Friday night's loss to USC against Northwestern. It is what it is. The schedule has certainly gotten tougher for the Wildcats. Michigan should be able to kind of coast into the Ohio State game. Either way, both of these teams, top 31 strength of schedules. Michigan number 31, Northwestern number 25. Let's look at the offense, right? Northwestern, good at running the football, number 40 in rush rate. Michigan, really good at defending the run. Michigan is not good at defending the pass. Northwestern, number 122 in yards per pass attempt, number 120 in QBR. However, they are number 29 in passing success rate. But they also only throw it 44% of the time. Michigan, number 102 in passing success rate allowed, but they're number 38 in QBR allowed, number 22 in yards allowed per pass attempt. Make the numbers make sense. Make the numbers make sense. None of it makes sense. As far as finishing drives, Northwestern, number 129 in points per scoring opportunity. That's whenever you get a first down inside the opponent 40. Michigan's defense, number 57. So, edge to Michigan on that side of the ball. On the other side of the ball, Michigan likes to run the football. Northwestern can't stop the run. Number 129 in PPA allowed per rush. Number 103 in yards allowed per rush. Michigan is number 7 in yards per rush. Justice Haynes is still dealing with an injury. Don't think it necessarily matters. But here's something that might matter. Northwestern 4-1 against the spread at home this year, plus 8.8. Michigan 1-3 against the spread away from home, and they are negative 5.3 in those games. So Michigan plays below expectations on the road. Northwestern plays above expectations at home. But this is at Wrigley. How much does it matter? 5 factors rank Michigan number 21, Northwestern number 74. You know, Michigan, both of these teams top 10 in penalties per game. But Michigan, number 10 in turnover margin. Northwestern outside the top 110 in turnover margin. They are number 110 in giveaways per game. That ain't good. I think Michigan is deep enough, talented enough that they are capable of, just kind of running away with this thing, winning this thing by 2 touchdowns, etc. This opened at 9.5. Again, it's out to 11.5, 12.5. I think I could see something like 24-10, 27-13, something like that. 14-point win would make sense to me. So I'm going to go against my numbers, and I think Michigan finds a way to cover this number. So I will take Michigan minus 11.5 here.
Are you tired of sore knees or joints slowing you down? Go Sleeves uses built-in kinesiology tape technology to give you support, reduce pain, and help you recover faster. Use code WCE for 15% off over at GoSleeves.com.
If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and of course, jump in the comments. Tell me your picks on these games. Game number 3, Iowa goes to USC. This one at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on the Big Ten Network. That's right, CBS decided to take Penn State and Michigan State, and I think that's because there's certain weeks of the year that the Big Ten Network has a higher pick than CBS. Somehow CBS paid $350 million for this. I mean, they had the best deal in sports. All you had to do was play nice with the SEC. I mean, what are we talking about? Anyway, the Big Ten Network gets a top 25 matchup between Iowa and USC. USC is 6.5-point favorite, total of 49.5, and this one is just kind of sitting there because it's exactly the same as what it opened at. And it makes sense, right? My projected stat spread has USC by 6.48. My power rating has USC by 3. My last 4 weeks has Iowa by 5.79. I found that interesting. Both of these teams top 35 in current strength of schedule. Iowa's defense certainly playing like a top 20 unit now. For a good portion of the season, they were not. They looked pretty good last week against Oregon. Now, that was a beat-up Oregon team in the snow. It was an Iowa kind of game, and that was such a weird spot anyway. Iowa was doing things that normally they expect their opponents to do for them to be able to hang around in games, and they were still hanging around. It's very interesting. USC, number 1 in the country in PPA per drive, number 1 in PPA per play, number 2 in offensive success rate. They are still really good on that side of the ball, which you would expect from a Lincoln Riley team. Iowa's defense, Phil Parker, still got them number 13 in PPA per drive, number 13 in PPA per play, number 25 in defensive success rate. They are not as good against the run, which is interesting. USC has fallen off a little bit running the football. Not crazy, though. They're still pretty good. Turnover margin, USC number 35, but they are number 77 in giveaways per game. Iowa is only number 57 in takeaways per game, so that's something to pay attention to. Both teams inside the top 40 as far as special teams efficiency is concerned. Let's look at points per scoring opportunity. How well do you finish drives? USC number 9 in the country. Iowa's defense number 26. On the other side, Iowa number 32 points per scoring opportunity, and USC number 20 on defense. So don't let anybody tell you that this is not a huge game. These are 2 really good football teams. Really good football teams. I was shocked, honestly. Iowa, slightly better in turnover margin, slightly better in special teams efficiency, way better in penalties per game. They are number 1 in penalties per game. USC is number 67. This game is at USC, though. USC 4-1 against the spread at home with a total. Good gracious, allergies getting to me. They are plus 10 against the spread at home. Iowa, however, plays pretty good away from home this year. 2-0-1 against the spread. They are plus 13.3. So they are actually slightly better at on the road than they are at home. Who would have thought? USC number 16 in 5 factors rank. Iowa is number 7. So the fundamentals, the intangibles, the things that win football games, Iowa is better at those than USC, which I find very interesting. USC is significantly more talented, although they might be a little bit banged up here. USC is coming off of a bye. Iowa, of course, coming off of that grueling, heartbreaking loss to Oregon. 6.5 feels like too much. I feel like this is one of those games where USC, you got to put up or shut up. And they did it against Michigan earlier in the year, right? Where we got to show that we can play on the line of scrimmage, etc. Maybe Iowa's beat up from that game last week. Something about this game says to me like they were going to get USC or Oregon. They got real close to Oregon. I think they can get real close to USC here. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes. Give me Iowa plus 6.5. I don't think USC has played great defenses thus far this year, and I think that Phil Parker can confuse Jaden Maeva. I'm interested. What are the turnovers going to look like? Give me Iowa plus 6.5. Game number 4, 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Oklahoma heads down to Tuscaloosa. They're going to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Alabama currently is favored by 5.5 to 6, depending on the book. Total of 45.5 to 46.5, depending on the book, of course. My projected stat spread has Bama by 6.39. My power rating has Bama by 5.4. The last 4 weeks has Oklahoma by 8.3. Something to consider there. Bama number 6 in current strength of schedule, Oklahoma number 16. So when everybody told you in the preseason that Oklahoma's got the toughest schedule in the country and da-da-da-da, yes, it's still a very difficult schedule, but to this point, Alabama's has actually been more difficult. Who would have thought? It may not look that way at the end of the season because Auburn hasn't exactly lived up to expectations. But regardless, these two teams have to play each other, so it is what it is. Alabama did not look great against LSU, and yet they still covered 9.5, 10, 10.5, whichever one you got. Only put up 20 points and still found a way to cover. Is what it is. Oklahoma, they are 3-0 against the spread away from home. They play better away from home for whatever reason. They are 5-2 against the spread over the last 2 seasons away from home. But this year they are plus 12.8 on the road. Alabama is 5-0 against the spread at home. They are 10-2 against the spread at home over the last 2 seasons. But this year they are plus 11.4 against the number. So that's something to pay attention to. When it comes to 5 factors rank, just raw 5 factors, Alabama number 2, Oklahoma number 1. 5 factors plus talent, Alabama number 1, Oklahoma number 2. The things that win ball games, both of these teams are really good at. Oklahoma, not great on offense. They are starting to figure some things out running the football. If that is the case, not going to be good for Alabama. Bama is. Let me tell you that they've gotten a little bit better with this. They're number 97 as opposed to outside the top 100 in PPA per rush. They're number 81 in yards per rush instead of outside the top 100. So, things are going a little bit better. But Oklahoma's still number 94 in yards per rush. They're number 67 in PPA per rush. A lot of their rushing offense has to do with John Mateer. Let's see what that means. Are they going to be able to throw on Alabama? I don't know. I don't think so. Oklahoma's offense, number 51 in points per scoring opportunity. That's how well they finish drives. Bama's defense, number 70. Bama's defense, number 11 in red zone touchdown rate. Some of that has to do with interceptions and whatnot. Number 71, Oklahoma, in interceptions thrown per pass attempt. Bama, number 21 in interceptions gained per pass attempt defended. Oklahoma, number 90 in fumbles lost per rush. Bama, number 14 in fumbles gained. So, turnover margin, huge difference here. Bama is number 4. Oklahoma is number 112. That's big. That's very, very big. And you saw it in the LSU game. Oklahoma much better in special teams efficiency, number 15 to number 84. On the other side of the ball, Bama cannot run the football. So if I were them, I'd throw this thing 40-something times on Saturday. They're number 7 in PPA per pass, Oklahoma number 14. Oklahoma's pass defense is still really good, but they are not. I'm not going to say that they're not great. They are great. They are That is the weak link. Their pass defense is the weak link. Havoc rate is going to be a thing. Bama number 30 in havoc allowed. Oklahoma number 1 in havoc created. Oklahoma's going to get after the quarterback. They absolutely are. Can they get there? That's the question. So, I'm going to trust the number here. I think that it's a little too much, 6.5. This feels like a field goal kind of game. It feels low scoring. This thing's 45.5. I've got a total of 53 on this. But I don't expect to see a lot of points. Neither one of these teams is too concerned with scoring a ton of points. Kalen DeBoer, he and Ryan Grubb may have something planned for this that I haven't seen. Texas finally was able to put up some points on this Oklahoma defense. But it wasn't a lot. It was 23. Bama's defense is not capable of doing what Texas's defense did to Oklahoma. Granted, that was John Mateer really injured, and he may still really be injured. But I'm curious about all of this. I think Oklahoma comes to play. I think this is a tight ball game, 20-17, 21-17. I think Bama wins. I think Oklahoma covers. Give me Oklahoma at the best number I can get right now, which is 6. I'll take the Sooners plus 6.
Are you looking to catch your favorite team or concert live? TicketSmarter makes buying tickets safe and simple. And with our promo code, you save big. Use WCE10 for $10 off an order of $100 or more, or WCE20 for $20 off $300 or more. Grab your tickets now at TicketSmarter.
If you haven't already, I know I've already mentioned it, but go and check out bettingcfb.com, or the easier way, there is a link in the description, buymeacoffee.com/winningcures. I would certainly appreciate it. $5 a month, $50 for the year, and I'm going to be doing these graphics, these sheets, all the way through the national championship game. You can get all of them over there. You can support the show. That's the biggest thing to do. Do that. Of course, subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Buy Me a Coffee. Game number 5, and we go over to the ACC. If you had told me this was going to be one of the games of the year in the ACC, I don't know that I would have believed you. I really don't. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Virginia goes to Duke. That's right. Manny Diaz and Tony Elliott. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Duke is favored by 6 to 6.5. Total of 57.5 to 58.5. The Virginia defense is actually pretty good. I don't know what to make of that. I think Duke will be able to move the football on them. What I'm curious about is Chandler Morris. Is he going to play? He went out of the Wake Forest game. Virginia ended up losing that one. Do they get him to play this week? Because this is incredibly important. Like, this is basically for a slot in the ACC championship game. And it's at Duke. My projected stat spread has Duke by 2.5. My power rating has Duke by 3.5. My last 4 weeks has Virginia by a field goal. But if the quarterback doesn't play, then I don't necessarily trust it at all. Virginia number 93 in current strength of schedule. Duke number 69. Yes, Duke is coming off a loss to UConn. I don't think they really cared about that game against UConn. This is a team that right now is 5-4 straight up. Yeah, Virginia is 8-2. And as far as who covers the best on the road or at home, whatever, Virginia is 2-2 against the spread away from home. Duke is 1-3. But Duke is also 4-5 on the season against the number. 5 factors rank both of these teams outside the top 50. Turnover margin, number 49 for Duke, number 20 for Virginia. Penalties per game, Virginia is significantly better, number 39. Duke outside the top 110. In this Duke defense, number 124 in defensive red zone conversion percentage, number 107 in red zone touchdown rate. Virginia is number 109 in red zone touchdown rate on defense. Duke is going to be able to put up points. I'm just curious whether or not Virginia can. It all comes down to the quarterback. I think he's going to try and play, but I don't know. That was a scary injury. I I think he's going to try and play. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. And if he's not 100%, Duke is going to be able to probably score on this defense. You know, they're going to be able to throw the football, I believe. And if that's the case, yeah, I'll take Duke -6. So there would be nothing funnier than the Blue Devils winning the ACC. I mean, all logic goes out the window with this. Just crazy. Just crazy. And then Manny Diaz will probably go back and he'd be Penn State's head coach, I guess. Make any of it make sense. Make any of it make sense. All right. Duke -6 on that one. Game number 6, back to the 11 a.m. Central Time slot. USF goes to Navy this week. South Florida, the Bulls are absolutely rolling right now. This one on ESPN2, South Florida favored by 10.5 right now, total of 64.5 to 65.5, depending on which book. Is Blake Horvath going to play? Nobody knew about that one last week against Notre Dame, and part of that could be that Navy said, screw it, like we don't need to, if he's even feeling a little bit like he's sore or whatever, that game means nothing. Even without him playing last week, they're still number 2 in PPA per rush, number 1 in yards per rush, number 3 in rush rate, number 1 in rushing success rate, number 4 in rushing explosiveness, number 2 in offensive line yards, and that is the side of the ball that USF is best at. They're really good against the run. Number 14 in PPA allowed per rush, number 20 in yards allowed per rush, number 45 in rushing success rate, number 23 in offensive line yards allowed, number 14 in stuff rate. USF's pretty good against the run. Are they prepared for the triple? I would think so, but who knows? As far as points per scoring opportunity, as far as finishing drives, USF number 48, Navy number 38 on offense. On the other side of the field, by the way, both of these teams outside the top 60 as far as special teams efficiency, USF should be able to eat these guys alive when they have the football. Navy's defense is awful. Absolutely awful. Number 129 in PPA per pass, number 106 in PPA per rush on defense. Points per scoring opportunity, how well do you finish drives? Navy, number 110 on defense. USF, number 23 on offense. That is a huge, huge discrepancy. 5 factors rank, Navy, number 47, USF, number 26. USF way better in the first half, number 17 in first half point margin. Navy, number 73. So even though this is that is surprising. 3.6 I've got for projected first half. My number on this, I've got South Florida by 9.5. Power rating, I've got South Florida by 8.2. Last 4 weeks, I've got South Florida by over 17. And I think that's probably what we're looking at. And Navy's going to give it their all, but this is very similar. I mean, North Texas beat Navy 31-17. Navy is number 78 in current strength of schedule. Before they played Notre Dame, it was in the upper 90s. So, yeah, you got a bump in strength of schedule, but you also got demolished. So, South Florida balanced on both sides of the ball. Navy, way better offensive team. I think South Florida will be able to get stops. I don't know that Navy will. And if that's the case, 10.5 is not going to be enough points. I like South Florida here. I like Byron Brown. He has stayed healthy all year. South Florida, they are in a position now where they can win the AAC. Now that Memphis has 2 losses, I think they take advantage here. I will take South Florida to cover the 10.5 at home.
Why struggle doing everything yourself? On Fiverr, you can hire professionals for just about anything. Marketing, editing, design, and more. Save time, get it done right. Click the link in the description to get started.
Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and, of course, give me your picks in the comments. I want to hear from you. Game number 7, 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. Utah heads to Baylor. That's right, they're going down to Waco for this one. Utah currently a 7.5 to an 8.5 point favorite, total of 60.5 on this. Make the number make sense. I've got Utah favored by 13. My power rating has Utah by 9. My last 4 weeks has Utah by 23. The Utes have turned it on. The BYU game, I almost want to throw that game out. I want to throw the Texas Tech game out, and I know that you can't do that. But, man, those seem like such anomalies because Utah's just been smoking everybody else. They are number 4 in points per game margin. Like, they're 7-2 against the spread. They're number 18 in 5 factors rank. They're number 3 in first half point margin. I don't know that I fully get it, right? Points per play margin, number 7 in the country. Like, this Utah team is really good. Baylor, on the other hand, offensive success rate number 35, but they're number 18 passing the ball, and they are number 52 running the ball. They're not great at running it, and they don't do it very often. A little over 41% of the time. They're number 125 in rush rate. That is the weakness of the Utah defense, and even that isn't really much of a weakness. Utah number 27 in rushing success rate allowed. What Baylor wants to do is throw the football. They throw it almost 58% of the time, number 10 in pass rate. But they're number 48 in QBR. Utah's defense is number 3. Number 49 in PPA per pass. Utah's defense is number 1. Havoc rate, they're number 40 in havoc allowed. Baylor is. Utah's defense number 29. So they'll be able to get after the quarterback a little bit here. Points per scoring opportunity, Baylor is pretty good at finishing drives, number 35. Utah's defense is number 12. Yeah. Baylor number 5 in special teams efficiency. Utah is number 49, so that is an advantage. Penalties per game, Baylor 45, Utah 64. Okay, like maybe a bit of an advantage, but when it comes to turnovers, Baylor number 124 in turnover margin, Utah 60. Baylor is number 125 in giveaways per game. Like that ain't going to cut it against this Utah defense. I don't know why this number would be where it is. Utah number 3 in PPA per rush, Baylor's defense 62. Number 3 in yards per rush, Baylor's defense number 92. Utah number 7 in rushing success rate, Baylor number 104. We saw Auburn, who was not the version that played against Vanderbilt, like the Hugh Freeze version of Auburn with Jackson Arnold, run up and down the field on Baylor. Is there anything that the numbers show us that would make us think that that's not going to happen here? Baylor 1-4 against the spread at home, minus 2.9. Utah 3-1 against the spread away from home. They are plus 10. This feels pretty cut and dry. So why this number is where it is, I'm not sure. But I'm going to take Utah minus 7.5 in Waco. I think Utah is a different level than this Baylor team. Game number 8, 6 p.m. Central on ESPN. Ole Miss hosting the Florida Gators. And good gracious, this thing is up to 16.5 in some spots. Total of 53.5 to 54.5 on this one. I'll go on and tell you, my number has Ole Miss by 13.9. My power rating has Ole Miss by 8.3. My last 4 weeks would have Ole Miss by 26. This is the game that kept Ole Miss out of the playoff last year. I get the feeling that it won't this year. This Florida team looks like a shell of themselves. They gave everything they had in that Georgia game. It did not go well. DJ Lagway got benched last week. Dallas Wilson isn't playing anymore this year. This team is just a corpse at this point. The game is in Oxford. It's a revenge spot for Ole Miss. We'll go through some of the numbers, but the numbers here are not the same from Florida that we would expect. I mean, if Connor Boley, I think that's his name, for Kentucky, was able to put up 38 points on this Florida defense last week, what in the world is Trinidad and Lane Kiffin going to do? I mean, that's terrifying. Like, maybe Florida has enough talent to be able to hang in this game. Florida technically is more talented than this Ole Miss team. But there is a world of difference between these two teams. Ole Miss number 10 in PPA margin. Florida is number 92. Ole Miss number 2 in special teams efficiency. Florida number 18. You look at 5 factors rank. Ole Miss number 22. Florida is number 38. Ole Miss can put up points. I mean, you want to talk about some crazy first and second half point margins. Ole Miss number 10 first half point margin. Florida number 92. Second half point margin. Ole Miss number 24. Florida number 125. Like, they are just getting shellacked. Ole Miss 5-2 against the spread at home so far this year. Florida 0-4 away from home. Yikes. Just yikes. Both teams are outside of the top 80 in turnover margin. Ole Miss number 93 in penalties per game. Florida number 45. But, like, Billy Napier's not there anymore. This team gave everything against Georgia, and then you saw what happened when the wheels fell off against Kentucky last week. I don't know if you can get the training wheels back on. Like, it's not even the training wheels. I think just, like, the whole car burst into flames last week. How does that happen in Lexington? I know that Mark Stoops has a lot of success against Florida. But, man, I mean, that was atrocious. Everything about that was bad. Until I see otherwise, I mean, this thing opened at Ole Miss minus 13.5. It's all the way up to 16.5. And I still don't think it's big enough at this point. Like, I'm going against my number because I think the Q word comes into play here, which is terrifying. Good gracious. Ole Miss at home at night. I will take the Fighting Kiffins. Give me Ole Miss minus 16. That's the best number we can get right now. I think they lay it on Florida here.
Stop guessing and start winning. Stokastic provides advanced data and strategies for DFS players and bettors, built by pros who know how to find edges. Click the link in the description and sign up today.
Quick reminder, of course, make sure that you check out buymeacoffee.com/winningcures. That's where you can get one of these graphics, one of these stat graphics for every single FBS versus FBS game every single week. Go ahead and subscribe over there. $5 a month, $50 for the year, and you would be supporting the one-man show. All right, game number 9, probably the best game of the weekend, I believe, anyway. College Game Day did not agree, but regardless. Georgia hosting the Texas Longhorns. Georgia currently a 6 to 6.5 point favorite, total of 47.5 to 48.5, depending on the book. 6:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And Georgia, right now, I would have them favored by 5 over Texas. Power rating has Georgia by 3.8. My last 4 weeks number has Georgia by 11.76. The Bulldogs put a whooping on Mississippi State last week, but they also had to fight for their lives against Florida the week before that. But what version shows up, right? I think Texas is going to give it everything they got here. I think Georgia's going to give it everything they got here. These two teams are number 2 and number 3 in overall on 3 talent rank. So you've got plenty on both sides of the ball to be able to get this done. Texas number 106 in offensive success rate. I think they have been a little bit better as of late. Texas coming off of a bye. Georgia coming off of a big-time win in Starkville last week. Texas, I think they're getting better on offense. Vanderbilt, I think, is falling apart, so I don't know how much we could take away from that game. But it wasn't just that game. The week before that, Texas had started to figure some things out. Arch Manning looks a whole lot better now. Just a whole lot better. But can he continue to look like that against this Georgia team? Georgia ain't great against the pass. Let's start with Texas on offense. Texas number 110 in points per scoring opportunity on the season. Georgia's number 116. That's not great for a Kirby Smart defense. Georgia number 89 in defensive red zone touchdown rate. Again, what is happening? Georgia number 123 in takeaways per game. Not exactly a vintage, and I know that they looked great against Mississippi State last week, but I think Mississippi State's depth has just completely fallen off. They got a lot of guys banged up, a lot of guys hurt. I'll say that. Georgia number 77 in PPA allowed per pass. They are number 73 in passing success rate allowed, number 62 in QBR allowed. Texas, number 67 in PPA per pass, number 46 in QBR, number 64 in passing success. I think Texas can move the ball through the air on these guys. Havoc is going to be very, very big here because Texas has had problems keeping a clean pocket for Arch Manning. They're number 63 in havoc allowed. Georgia is number 114. They have to try and generate pressure from other places on the field as opposed to their down 4. I don't know how you do that. No, the Texas offensive line is not great by any stretch of the imagination. They are number 76 in offensive line yards. They're number 108 in stuff rate allowed. So they're not going to be able to run the ball on Georgia. I think you could see Arch Manning throw the ball a lot here. Either that or he takes off running by himself. But regardless, I find it very interesting. On the other side, Gunnar Stockton has been impressive. But they haven't played a defense like this one. Texas is number 28 in defensive success rate. They are number 20 in PPA allowed per drive on defense. They're number 19 PPA per play. They are really good against the run. They're not great against the pass. Georgia better, I think, at running the football than they are throwing it. They only throw the ball 43% of the time. They want to be running it. And yet, I think you're going to have a lot of trouble running it against this Texas team. Georgia, number 12 in points per scoring opportunity. Texas's defense, number 36. Georgia, number 1 in special teams efficiency. Texas is number 42. And let's look at 5 factors. Number 14 for Georgia. Number 13 for Texas. This is an interesting spot. I know what my last 4 number says. I think we're closer to this. I think Georgia favored by between 4 and 5 would have made a whole lot of sense. 6.5 is too much. I mean, I think it's too much. Give me the Longhorns to keep this thing close. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities that Texas wins out and really makes the playoff race interesting. So give me Texas plus 6.5. Last game of the night, TCU takes on BYU. Oh, man. BYU, a 4.5 to 5.5 point favorite, depending on the book. Total of 51.5 to 52.5, depending on the book. This one, 9:15 p.m. Central Time, God's time zone on ESPN. And my number has BYU favored by 7.71 points. My power rating has BYU by 6. My last 4 weeks, though, only has BYU by 3.76. BYU got smashed last week. But they played a team that could beat them at the line of scrimmage. Do we think that TCU can do that? I don't know. I don't think so. TCU number 110 in stuff rate on defense. BYU number 24 in stuff rate allowed. TCU number 61 in offensive line yards allowed. BYU number 26 in offensive line yards. BYU is going to run the football. TCU has been pretty good at defending the run. But this is kind of a different beast, and I think BYU is going to be irritated at how things went in Lubbock last week. Points per scoring opportunity, BYU's offense not great at finishing drives. Number 62 in points per scoring opportunity. TCU's defense, number 37. TCU, by the way, both of these teams, number 15 in takeaways per game. That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. I will say that. TCU 1-2-1 against the spread away from home. BYU was 3-1 against the spread at home this year. You look at defensive red zone conversion percentage, etc. TCU number 94 in offensive red zone conversions. TCU number 39 in points per scoring opportunity. BYU's defense number 35. TCU is going to throw the football a lot. They're number 19 in pass rate, so over 55% of their offensive snaps have been passes. That doesn't include scrambles and whatnot from Josh Hoover. TCU cannot run the football. I don't even know if they should try here. Maybe just a little bit to keep the safeties honest, I guess. This feels like a bounce back for BYU, but I think it also could be a bounce back for TCU. I think they probably should have won that game against Iowa State last week. And just couldn't finish drives, couldn't complete things. BYU is number 19 in 5 factors rank. TCU number 48. This still feels like TCU can make enough explosive plays that it'll keep BYU honest. BYU number 28 in current strength of schedule. TCU number 62. I know a lot of people will find that surprising. But BYU top 30 in strength of schedule is interesting nonetheless. I'm not going to go with the number. I'm going to go with the last 4 number here. Both of these teams are mad after losses last week. And it's a night game in Provo. Something crazy is going to happen. I think TCU finds a way to keep this thing close. And the numbers appear to be going that direction. Because there are some 4.5s out there. So give me TCU at the best number that I can get, 5.5. I think BYU probably wins this one, but I think this is more of a field goal game, more of a 31-27 kind of game. 27-24, something like that. And I would absolutely go with TCU to cover the 5.5. All right, let's recap it right quick. These are the 10 picks on today's show. Notre Dame minus 11, Michigan minus 11.5, Iowa plus 6.5, Oklahoma plus 6, Duke minus 6, South Florida minus 10.5, Utah minus 7.5, Ole Miss minus 16, Texas plus 6.5, TCU plus 5.5. Don't forget, buymeacoffee.com/winningcures. That would help me out tremendously. $5 a month, $50 for the year. You can get all of the spreadsheets, etc., my official plays, random stat sheets and whatnot, the matchup comparison tool, a lot of stuff over there for $5 a month. And you're supporting me by doing that. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, jump in the comments. Let's keep this thing rolling. We got a lot of football left this season. I know we're into week 12. I know. But man, with the playoff and the championship games and all the bowl games and whatnot, December's right around the corner. Let's get that thing rolling. All right, you guys have been fantastic. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. God bless college football, and hopefully all of your tickets cash this week.
Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Subscribe, leave a review or comment, follow @GaryWCE on X, and check out the web store,